You want some good news? I'll give you some good news. Right after I give you some bad news, because my nickname's Dr. Doom sometimes. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm going to give you some good news, potentially, if this passes. And from what I understand, they're either going to the polls like today or, or I say today, it's already nighttime, either tonight or sometime in the extremely near future here. This is a headline. It's one of those things where you start to see a little movement, right? As Gerald Celente always says, current events form future trends. We've already heard several states and Utah already, I guess, passed their law of allowing gold and silver to be used as money to pay, whether it's taxes or whatever, with. And then a few other states have now have legislation in play. That never had been done before. So here's another one, and listen to this one, because you're going to find it happening in other states, I guarantee. Headline: North Dakota measure to eliminate property taxes, just the beginning, advocates say. I know this isn't being blasted all around the mainstream media. Oh no. You can find it on a few websites. This one happens to be ABC News. And it says here, it was today. I think they're voting today. I don't know if there's an outcome just yet. I haven't gotten any updates yet. But North Dakotans take their angst against property taxes to the polls today, an issue gaining traction in other parts of the U.S. You ain't seen nothing yet. Though opponents of a measure to eliminate the tax say the state isn't as cash rich as it seems. Measure 2, what it's called, proposes to eliminate completely North Dakota's property taxes, which amount to $812 million annually, retroactive to January 1st of this year. If the measure passes, the state would be the first to eliminate local property taxes, the mainstay of cities and towns right now. Quote, people shouldn't have their homes held hostage, said Charlene Nelson, 52, chairwoman of the organized effort behind Measure 2. Known as on her side, I guess, is called Empower the Taxpayer. And I love it. Empower the taxpayer. As a matter of fact, you don't have to empower the taxpayer. We already are. It's just a matter of fact that we don't do anything and use our power. We put these fools in the positions of power to speak for us, to pass laws for us. And they get in there, just like Marco Rubio. This guy is just, everyone loves him. He's new. That's one of my senators in Florida. He's one of the Bilderberg boys. He's already been to the CFR meeting, Council on Foreign Relations. It's done. Game over. Don't be shocked. Do not be shocked if you hear that old Marco is going to be the VP of none other than Mitt Romney. Don't be surprised. It'll be like, just this great idea just came up out of nowhere. Okay, remember old Jay Snip. I like that quote, though. People shouldn't have their homes held hostage. You don't pay your property taxes. The government comes and gets it, forecloses on you, sells it, potentially for pennies on the dollar, to collect their income, their taxes that you owed. Your house is gone. It may be worth $100 and something thousand, $200,000, $300,000. You got down on your luck. You can't pay bills anymore. Maybe you lost your job and your house was paid off, but you still got bills to pay. Sorry, we get the house for free. So you can see why this would be a good idea. And besides that, for everyone who's going to say, well, what about road services and, maintenance crews that we need to keep the state running? What about all that? Do you realize that none of that tax money was ever necessary in the beginning? It's not something that just kicked in immediately for everybody. All these taxes we pay nowadays, there's over 100 of them. They never existed. Why do all these taxes exist? And especially the income tax. Study was done by an economic council that Ronald Reagan put together during his term as president to figure out, where is income tax money going from the taxpayers? because it didn't seem like it was going anywhere to do anything in America. So he wanted a study done. And he got that study done. And I've mentioned this a couple times. I can't remember the guy's name that was in charge of his economic council that moved forward with it for him. Did the study, got all the information the president needed at the time, which again was Ronald Reagan. And lo and behold, it pretty much all goes to paying the interest on our national debt. Notice how I didn't say it goes to making the payment to bring down that debt, like you would normally make a car payment or your house payment or whatever you're paying on to bring it down and ultimately have it paid off. I didn't say that. It just pays the interest on the debt, helps pay interest on the debt. Nowadays, there's not a chance in hell that it's going to be able to do that. So before anyone stands up, well, what about we need tax? You got to have tax. You got to pay for the stuff. Yeah, we do. And there's plenty of other ones that get the job done. You can put a little tax on other things rather than, like this person said, hold someone's house hostage, their house. That's private property, property rights. That's not the way to do things. So I am in total agreement with this. I love it. It is one of 4 measures on a ballot for which polls close at 8 p.m. And North Dakota, I don't know if that's central off the top of my head. But I don't think it is. It's close. Maybe part of it is. Whatever. So the polls are still going on probably. Central time. Oh, I should have just kept reading. It is one of 4 measures on a ballot for which polls close at 8 p.m. Central time. It was the next sentence down. That's why I didn't see it. Okay? Give me some slack. On Tuesday, which is today. Including a proposal to change the University of North Dakota's Fighting Sioux logo and nickname. The issue of increasing property taxes is contentious in many parts of the country, not just North Dakota, as local governments tried to raise additional revenue during the downturn. The National Taxpayers Union reported 30% of properties in the U.S. are assessed at higher values than they are worth. Counties in New York and New Jersey have the 14th highest median real estate taxes paid in the country. So if we as the government, and again, this is local government, this is down to the city and county government, basically. You think there's corruption at the top and that's only where it stays? No, it's everywhere. Wherever the word politician or government is used, it's there. Guaranteed, it comes with it. It's a little bonus you get. So if you can say all these houses in this neighborhood, they're worth $80,000 now. They were selling for $220 all day long. Now they're worth $80. And even at 80, you look at you do the math. You look at what real estate sold for. Man, these things are selling in the low 80s. Property tax. You do have the right to petition the property assessor in my county, probably in all counties, if I had to guess, and say, I don't think the rate you're charging me jives with what my house is worth. We'll reassess it. So the county's going to reassess it. The same guy who put the stamp on it the first time, who needs it to be higher so he can collect more taxes from me and other people. Right. See a little problem there? And one of the things that I heard, at least in my county, is you can go and opt for a second and third party assessment, not by the county taxpayer, or the county tax assessor, excuse me. And that would be interesting. But from what I remember, even with my own house, I think it was pretty close to where I didn't bother me. Wouldn't really matter too much. Is that a mosquito? More than likely. Open the damn door for 1 second, and mosquitoes flying. So the debate on lowering or eliminating property taxes is gaining traction in states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Texas. As I said, current events form future trends. And the current events, this is one of them, which normally it's bad news all over the place because that's pretty important. Happens to be bad, but it's very important for people to understand. This is very bad. No one's doing anything about it. Listen to what I have to say on YouTube so you understand how you can skate around that if possible so it doesn't affect you because no one's doing anything about it anyways. But that kind of stuff is important. which is why a lot of my videos are on bad stuff that maybe some people just don't have the stomach or heart to hear or listen to, because it doesn't make me feel good. And I'm used to feeling good, so I can't stare reality in the face. I want to feel good. So I'm going to go turn off the computer, turn off the news, turn off everything, which if you're turning off mainstream news, that's actually a good idea, and just go sit on my couch and turn on my favorite TV show, eat my favorite food, and just pretend everything is fine. I'm sure it'll get better. We'll get through this. Oh, we will. But do you want to be one of the people like in Greece right now eating out of garbage cans? There are people in Greece right now eating out of garbage cans. Matter of fact, I'd like to read this to you. /week HTM. This is from George Year's website, urbansurvival.com/week.htm. Week as in WEEK. .htm. So he says, got a little. Someone had sent him a message that was actually in inside Greece. They were there. A reader contributed a fascinating account of what life is like in Greece at the moment. And this guy says, all kinds of stuff flying around here. Here is an update on the situation in Greece from my boots on the ground. I was there, okay? That's what he's saying. My parents were in Greece for 2.5 weeks for my grandfather's 1-year memorial. To get to the village, they landed in Athens and drove northwest across the center of Greece to the town of Lefkada, also the name of the island. From there, they drove to the town of Nydri, Nydri, took a ferry to the island of Meganisi. Dad said the people in Athens are hungry looking. The traffic at the international airport was basically non-existent. In his own words, you could roll a bowling ball down the middle of the concourse and not hit anyone. It's dead. There's nobody at the airport. The commercial districts of Lefkas and Nidri were dead. People are digging through trash cans to find food. A cousin of his has had his salary cut from 1,500 euros a month to 800 euros a month. He was barely making it before. So now, from what he saw on the news over there, the leftist party, Syriza, should win first place in the election next Sunday, which should be this Sunday, I believe. The head of Syriza, Alex Tsipras, has pledged to reinstate the drachma, which is their old currency. Get rid of the EU, insert the drachma, and he says he would like to set it 1-to-1 with the euro. So there won't be any, you get 3-to-1. Like I was telling you, like these countries like Argentina did, and I said that they could potentially do in Greece if they go back to the drachma. This particular guy is saying we will set the exchange rate at 1-to-1 with the euro, and therefore make things cheaper for everyone. According to what Dad was told, one of the current politicians let it slip that some private savings would need to be confiscated so Greece would have cash on hand if the next bailout tranche was withheld, being the one that the banksters have been giving Greece, the bailouts. If that's withheld, Greece has to have some cash somehow, and some private savings would have to be confiscated in order to do this. Now that's a hell of a statement. This is what stated. This is what started. He's got it misspelled. Started the bank runs a few weeks back. Overall, things in Greece are bad and not getting better anytime soon. It is an insult to Greeks suffering through all this that the terms of the Spanish bailout are for reforms to the banking sector and not across the board as they were for Greece. It should get real interesting next week. Anyways, keep up the great work. I look forward to every US and PN update. What I think he means is US as an urban survival update that this guy has. So, This guy's father, I guess, was the boots on the ground, so to speak. The airport's dead, therefore the airport is gonna fail if this continues. Because if you have nobody coming in and out of Greece, and you can roll a bowling ball down any freaking aisle in the airport, and you're not gonna hit anybody, from his little analogy, that place is done, pretty much. So that is what we all will ultimately face if things don't change. And as history is my guide, things aren't changing barely at all in the positive way. In the same old negative stuff, same old elitist, world governance type people are moving right ahead, straight forward, with their plans to continue what they're doing. Meanwhile, we have the original story I just talked about. North Dakota, we don't like property tax. We feel it's a violation of people's rights, personal property. It's yours, you own it. You shouldn't have to pay tax on anything that you own. And then if you don't pay tax, some entity is allowed to come take it from you to pay this fee. No, I strongly agree with that. With what they're doing. And I can't wait to see the polls. I may have to stay up tonight and see what happens. And if it turns out that it's a done deal, maybe I may come back in here and make a video to say, hey, this is done. Next, hey, Florida politicians. I'm here now, Tennessee, where I'd like to go. You guys, you see what just happened in North Dakota? Get on the ball. It's what they want. No, we don't want to pay your pensions. We don't care about police pensions, school pensions, firefighter pensions, bozo pensions, politicians' pensions, massive health care retirement benefit. No, we don't care. And as it said, we are the empowered taxpayer. We are the many, they are the few. We are the 99%, they are the 1%. When we all realize it, wow, we do have power and we can actually do something, then it's time to do it and get stuff done. Right now, most people aren't doing anything. So, I can't go out and stand on the corner myself, be the only idiot out there trying to say something or protest or what. People have to experience pain and suffering themselves before they realize, I don't like that. And when they realize I don't like that, it wasn't just a few people that said I don't like that at the same time. It was a lot of people saying, we all don't like that. And you can hold a conversation with anybody on the street, or most people on the street, in the public, in the grocery store, and say, you hear them overhear them talking about such and such, which you're like, hey, now we're talking. Now people are starting to talk about it. Now is the prime time for a good movement. So stay tuned, see what happens here. And man, props to North Dakota. That's all I can say.